Oh yeah. Hello. I'm back. Yes. How's it going? I thought I'd get on here and talk playing some Warzone again, all right? I feel more comfortable when I'm doing something at the same time as talking. I feel like I can have a better commentary on things. At least while I get comfortable making videos. Um as you can see, I have a bit more professionalism now. Little microphone action. Um the thing about these Bluetooth mics with an iPhone, I don't really know if they're working or not. Fuck me. I just died. I don't really know if they're working or not, but I think they are. I think the light's on. I think the thing is connected. But when I check the audio, like I record a video and see how I sound, it sounds pretty similar. So I'm not sure how this is gonna work. Um, I'm in the gulag right now. Oh geez. Maybe eventually I'll like take the effort and actually show the gameplay while I'm talking. Maybe people would appreciate that. Um, okay, I'm dead. But I wanted to come on here because we have a UFC pay per view this weekend. Um, Geez, I don't even know the number, dude. I used to know all the numbers, all the main events, and I think I do still from like 2015 July when I started watching. I probably know every number and main event up until like the COVID era. That's when things started getting foggy for me. Now, I could still probably do all of 2020, maybe all of 2021 as well, barring like maybe a couple. But these last few years have just, I don't know, like I don't know. For some reason my memory bank has stopped working with it. It's so weird. I don't know. But what was I saying? I don't know. So basically, that's me saying I don't know the number of the pay per view this weekend, but it's in Miami, and I know Volkanovski is a main event, and he is someone I'd like to talk about because this is a great card, by the way, and it's rare nowadays we get a card this awesome, in my opinion. Like, this card is sick, dude. This is a classic fucking awesome UFC pay-per-view. There's great high level fights. There's parity involved. There's there's crossover, which is like a really sort of unique thing that's happened in the last few years. I guess the first one was Ben Askren. Um, but we haven't had much of it. But now with this whole PFL Bellator situation, we're starting to see more people cross over, and that's exciting. It's like AEW and Bellator, or what am I saying? Brady's here. It's like AEW and WWE. Other companies come in and things start changing, right? AEW guys go to WWE and vice versa. Now it's kind of PFL guys going to UFC and vice versa. To say this weekend, we have Pitbull fighting Yair Rodriguez, which I think is a fucking sick fight, dude. Like, that's awesome. I can't complain. As a fan, I can't complain about that. Um, oh, yeah, don't mind my UFC Shanghai shirt. I like to wear shirts to show that I am actually a real hardcore fan, okay? This is UFC Shanghai shirt from like November 2017 when Bisping fought Gastelum and got knocked out, which was really fucking sad. But I keep losing my train of thought. Um, I'm excited for that Yair and Pitbull fight, and I love stuff like that. I love the parody aspect of things. Fighters crossing over. It makes things a little more fun, and I'm glad the UFC is open to things like that. Who knows if this whole PFL Tour situation happened, or if it didn't happen, if Pitbull would even be in the UFC right now. It's kind of come as a byproduct of the fallout of all of that shit that's going on over there, which I have no idea the truth behind it. I've heard Ariel and people say it's because, dude, my brain isn't working today. The former Bellator owner, I don't know, my brain is not working today. I'm sorry. Um, uh, Gave some talent really big contracts before he sold the company, in which PFL, was supposed to offer, but they got blindsided. Scott Coker, Jesus, there, that's his name. Um, Gave a lot of his talent big contracts before they left as sort of a parting gift. That's what I've heard, which is cool, but in a weird way, it's sort of iced everybody out. And this video, by the way, is just going to be a stream of consciousness. It's just talking. I apologize. I'm trying to get comfortable and get a voice and see how this, I'm trying to get comfortable with this, so bear with me. But yeah, he gave a lot of his talent big contracts as a parting gift, but weirdly, in turn, it sort of ended up backfiring on them, kind of. Like, what's the end goal with that? They're going to go into the UFC and maybe not get paid as much as they would have if they would have just honored the contracts they already had in place. So it's a bit of a weird situation. I get what Scott Coker was trying to do. If that's even what happened, that could just be not what happened. I don't know. But it's exciting seeing them come to the UFC because ultimately that's where I want to see everyone, because that's where the best fighters are for the most part. I want to see Pitbull in UFC. I think that's awesome. Him versus Yair is like a perfect fight too. That's the perfect fight to come in and do. So I'm really fucking excited for that fight. Especially, I mean, we have Chandler as well. That could be a Pitbull opponent in the future, who's also on the card. So I'm looking forward to that press conference. It's a classic card with a lot of different storylines going on, and I love that because I feel like, what was the last pay per view? March. See, I don't even like. It's hard for me to remember sometimes now. Fuck, who was it? Who was March? Who was the March pay per view? I don't remember. I don't know. It feels like there's been a bit of a lack of fun in these pay per views, at least the last couple of months, and that could be for a multitude of reasons. But I just feel like the quality of the cards have gone down a little bit. But this card is very fun, and fuck. And like the co-main event, for example, we have Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. That's a fun ass fight, dude. That's a very fun fight. 5 rounds, I'd really love to go and cover these fights. That's kind of what I want to do. I think hopefully this year we can do the first one. Go to these events, cover them, get some interviews. I think that would be a lot of fucking fun, dude. And whether it just be UFC or a wrestling event, I'm open to any and all of those. So we'll see what happens. But I would love to interview some of the fighters on this card this weekend. It would be a great, great time, especially in Miami. Like, man, that sounds fucking sick. And Chandler is in an interesting spot because he was waiting for Conor for so long, which people love to shit talk Chandler about that, but I cannot blame him. That's the fight that's like waiting for a guaranteed lottery ticket, essentially. Like guaranteed winnings, but obviously it wasn't guaranteed. But I can't blame him because up until that point, Conor never pulled out of a fight before. And so how was he supposed to know? And I can't blame him, but he gets a lot of shit for that. I believe he had a Conor clause in his contract to where he made more money if he were to fight Conor McGregor, which just goes to show how powerful Conor is. That's probably why the UFC doesn't want big stars anymore because of that power. Anyway, people give Chandler a lot of shit for that. I cannot blame him. And, you know, his last fight is like against Charles. It's fine. It's people need to stop putting so much weight into wins and losses. I don't blame him because that's kind of how I would say it's how the UFC operates, but sometimes it's not. Like I've seen so many fighters go on mad losing streaks and still get opportunities. Like Tony Ferguson, for example, still got many, many opportunities. It's kind of just it depends. You know, do you draw? Are you popular? Are you entertaining? Are you down to take chances? Are you down to do things for the company somewhat? You know, Chandler probably didn't have to take this fight. Probably didn't have to take Charles' fight. You know, I believe he took some short notice opportunities, was a backup fighter. I think the UFC probably appreciates that. And as a fan of Michael Chandler, I feel like his UFC run has been pretty awesome. You know, he hasn't won every single fight, but I don't really care. I'm glad I got this. I get to see him in these fights and these opportunities, and it's fucking sick. And that's what I love. We should stop putting so much weight into the wins and losses and just enjoy what's happening. And that sort of goes into Volkanovski as well for me, because I look at Volkanovski and I see one of the best fighters of all time, really. Oh my, I just got the Verdansk fucking skin. Yes, that's fucking lit. Um, I see one of the best fighters of all time, and I see someone who is still supremely underrated to an unfair degree. Look, he took the Ilya fight, he did, but in my head canon, right? Just like some of these Apex fights, in my head canon, that shit doesn't even fucking count because much like the Apex fights where it's like this is a whole different atmosphere. This is like a whole different thing. This you're fighting in the Apex, it feels like a whole different sport. These fights feel like they're in their own universe. I feel like they're in their own universe, their own timeline. It doesn't even feel real. Um, but also with Volkanovski, that Ilya fight, granted, yes, he did take it, but he got knocked out 4 months prior in a short notice fight against Islam. And that kind of goes to what I don't like about MMA culture and discussion is yeah, he got knocked out by Islam. People say now, yeah, okay, Islam put a stamp on it and he really proved he's a better fighter. What are you fucking talking about? Like, it breaks my brain. Yeah, he finished Volkanovski. If you look at that in black and white on Wikipedia, yes, he finished Volkanovski. But are we just gonna remove all nuance and context to everything when it comes to MMA? Because I feel like that's the point we're at. People love to, when the history books are written, they're gonna see, yeah, Volkanovski lost to, um, sorry, I'm in a fucking absolute war right now. Yeah, Volkanovski lost to Islam by knockout, but that's not the story, man. The story is this motherfucker took this shit on 12 days' notice like a G, went in there, traveled, to fucking Abu Dhabi or whatever, cuts weight and like fights one of the best fighters on the planet. So are we just gonna ignore all of that context? It's not really fair. And then that leads into the Ilya fight, where that he's coming off of a knockout in 4 months fighting the top contender at featherweight. We're gonna act like that's not part of the story because it is. And so this is going to be an interesting test, I think, because it's been over a year. And this will really be, I apologize. This will really be, I think, a test to see where Volkanovski is actually at. Because, man, I don't think people understand what that can do to you coming off of a knockout like that. And now he's coming off another one, and so it's going to be an interesting test. Let's see where he's at. I'm not ready to write this guy off, man. He is incredible. Volkanovski is incredible, and people seem to forget so fast in this sport, but I fucking don't. I don't forget that fast. Trust me on that. I don't fucking forget. And he's incredible, and I can't wait to see what he does. I'm definitely, I don't want to say I'm rooting for everyone, especially if I start to take more of a journalistic role. I don't think I can root for fighters publicly, but I'd be lying at this moment if I said, yeah, I'm not rooting for Volkanovski, because he's a good guy, a great fighter, and people fucking forget, dude. People fucking forget, and they don't look at context, and they don't have nuance, and they don't understand that last fight was kind of a wash. It's kind of bollocks, mate. So I'm really interested to see where he's at. That's what I'll be paying close attention to. What's Volkanovski gonna do here? What kind of picture is he trying to paint? How is he gonna look? Because he has had some amazing performances, and I just don't think it's fair to judge him off of these last two fights. It's really, really not. You look at that fight against Islam, dude. Oh, I'm dead. Against Islam, the first one. Wow. That's a superstar, man. That motherfucker is a superstar, and he is supremely talented and gifted in fighting. And that's the truth. And if that motherfucker shows up against Diego Lopez, wow. I hope so. I really, really hope so, because that's magic, dude. I never really was a huge fan of Volkanovski before that fight, But I saw some real superstar potential there. Not even potential. I saw a real superstar. I saw a real aura, man. And I think he's awesome. I think he's awesome. And I don't mind Diego Lopez either. I think he's really cool. I think he's talented. I don't know how he plans to beat Volkanovski, but it kind of goes into where's Volkanovski at. That's what I'm talking about. This is a good card with good stories. This feels seismic. This feels legit. And I'm really, really excited to see what happens. I think there's so much with the featherweight and lightweight division. It's very interesting right now. Very interesting to see how it all plays out. But it would be nice to see Volk as champ again. And the fight game right now, it's there's a lot of interesting things, and it's a good time. It's a good time. So I just wanted to get on here and sort of talk a little bit about the fight game, what's happening, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And I want to make some more videos. Like I said, I want to be a little bit more consistent. It might just start off as little free flow things like this, but hopefully it turns into, I don't know. I have ideas for what I want it to turn into, but I just want to start like this, get my voice out there a little bit, and yeah. So I'll talk to you guys soon.